and Leshrac. Okay.
So you've got the Clockwork to initiate. You've got the Night Stalker to hit the back line. You've got the Silencer to shut it all down with the Global Silence. And then you have the Leshrac to be the battering ram to just run through that opposing lineup, doing as much damage as humanly possible. So this all sounds fantastic if Felt are the ones on the offensive. If they're not ET, if they get caught in that black hole, this looks a little bit risky, but they're kind of playing into that risk. If they're the ones who have the initiation, they're going to be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, and also just a very safe pick. Leshrac doesn't really have any hard counters in the mid lane. I don't feel like Nengo Flow is going to immediately go for, let's say, Queen of Pain pick, even though, of course, he's allowed to. It's not like he isn't, but it's just where Leshrac doesn't have something that's just going to beat him to an absolute pulp. So it's just a nice, safe selection. Not to mention, great hero to walk over to that Enigma's lane, even if you're not necessarily, let's say, being able to do anything about Black Hole. Well, you clear out the Eidolons, push in the wave, get aggressive in your own way. No, Felt just have a very by-the-books lineup, which is not bad. Leshrac without save or healing is a little bit more difficult to run, and that's where Solji does need to be careful. It's where not having heroes like the Chen or the Abaddon can feel a little bit riskier, let's say, but if you are just always on the aggressive, then maybe that can feel a little bit better. And this is a little bit of a counter, sure. Now you've got a little bit more burst damage. You have to be, again, very careful. This is where Ravens decide to punish you for not having, again, any save paired up with the Leshrac. But if you can find your draw, if you can find your even kind of footing, you still are going to push on these towers very quickly. And Ravens, aside from, well, I guess Bloodlust, they really don't have that much wave clear aside from the Lina. So it's also where if Elk can just jump onto the Lina first, those towers are going to come super easily.
Don't really have great protectors other than her. So Belt, they know what they want to do. They know they want to play aggressive. They know the tempo that they could potentially hit here and what its benefits would be. The question is, what hero slows that down here in terms of their final bans? They should be looking at Dodd's hero in that carry position. They don't have a lot of time to think this over, though, ET, so these might be a little bit rushed, but in terms of Dodd heroes, what are they worried about?
Yeah, and I'm thinking of what Don has kind of played in the previous games. Honestly, this is a case where I would not be too surprised if they want to just go for the lane counter. I think Monkey King, yeah, is still sitting there, so if they want to just be
Hmm.
brutal, they can. But of course, Night Stalker versus Monkey King, eventually the Night Stalker's happy because you see him in the trees, but then, in the lane, it should be abysmal. But that's also where I think they're going to want just somebody that feels good about being bloodlusted and is actually able to make something happen. It's where I think Terrorblade could be a very good or wait, Terrorblade's already banned out. Okay, we're good. And Monkey King does get banned as well. So the respect is there, saying that, yeah, getting last pick Monkey would be pretty sad. And it would be pretty sad. But that's where spinning around over to Paradise, well, Faceless Void is still in the pool. If you
Oh,
wanted to go for it,
huh.
you could decide, hey, we'll give you the big stun. A little bit harder to maybe finesse the Leshrac into it to do damage, but you do just have a little bit of AoE control that you are lacking on Felt right now. You do have to go for those individual plays, and no, they go for Spectre instead, a hero that will spoil both the Enigma and the Tiny's Blank Daggers, but aside from that is pretty slow. A little bit concerning, but I can see where they're coming from.
Just have that ability to really get yourself out across the map, and Ravens don't have the most durable of lineups here, so Spectre could go for maybe some quick kills if the situation allows, but now what is the play from Ravens here? King was banned away, the Sven got taken too, so well, a lot of those options were banned out, as you mentioned the TB as well, so they've got to go. There we go. 2 seconds on the clock before they do make a choice, and
Hmm.
it's going to be the Kunkka. This is something we've seen from them before, right? Swinging Dodd onto the position 1 Kunkka. It hasn't always looked the nicest or the cleanest, but it is going to give them some damage, some durability, some big team fight plays as well, so it does kind of tick all the boxes they were looking at.
Yeah, and I think that's where, funnily enough, it is just a good strength hero. And the reason why they pick it alongside the Lena, even though both of them will need quite a lot of farm, is that, well, Nengoflo can fulfill the role of the right-clicking carry. If Dot is unable to do anything in these team fights, he's gonna run around with his BKB. He's gonna eventually get the tidal wave and the Aghanim Scepter to just cause chaos in these team fights. Dot also probably will naturally build up towards that Silver Edge. It's a build that he's gone for in the past, where now you have, I don't want to go so far as to say a natural Silver Edge carrier, but someone that can very easily get it versus the Spectre, and continues to improve their team fight capabilities, which is nice. The funny thing is, last time they did pick up this Kunkka, the real reason they went for it was just to counter an Enigma in lane. So right now it's a little bit less obvious why it's there, just because there isn't that direct counter. But again, comfort pick gives them a frontliner that's going to be able to fulfill a role that Benjaz can't, and gives them some more opportunities perhaps to go for some counterplay. Not to mention as well, whenever that haunt does go down, you constantly have things to actually get that Tidebringer cleave off of, so maybe just ease of playing the hero in those team fights. Who knows? But this is in Raven's wheelhouse. This is all something they've done before.
Yeah, and the Kunkka, it's just kind of easy to execute in the vast majority of situations. So, comfort, durability, damage, a little bit of everything, looking pretty good. Meanwhile, on the side of Felt, do want to point out we have a little bit of a shift up from what we had been expecting, ET, because the Warden is not the Clockwork. He's actually on the Silencer.
And yeah, okay. Give him a ranged hero in the lane. I get it. You're gonna force your Clockwork to play versus an Enigma, which again also makes sense. Battery Assault versus those Eidolons. We'll have to see it. But I don't get my answer to my lane, so I'm upset. But it's fine. It's fine.
Also,
But definitely feels better.
We just don't get to see the Warden on the clock again, which is disappointing. I mean, listen, his teammate could probably contribute just as much as they need, but the last time we saw the Warden on Clockwork, it was just a quintessential textbook how to play Clockwork kind of scenario. So, you know, it's a little unfortunate, but hey, maybe now we'll talk about this as being that crazy silencer game that we saw from the Warden too. At least that's the hope for them. Is Fade, what exactly are you doing? He is very far back here. Does that courier actually see him? Oh, they're pinging out the area, so I think they know. But nobody's going to come to punish him, so it's a weird move, ET, but it's one that doesn't really cost him anything.
No, not at all. Now, Dismar.
Yeah.
Split Earth. Yeah.
Does he even bother skilling up anything? He does. He takes the Avalanche. Is that enough to keep him alive? No, it is not. As Solji gets the kill. That's first blood his way. I think Felt got three bounty runes there and first blood. It's about as strong a start as you could expect.
No, not bad at all. Get your bottle probably sent out, or is it a full no? No, he actually gets the bottle sent out. So, feels good if you're Solji. And, of course, as we haven't seen too many Avas level 1, for a good reason, it's because you don't have the tree grab to now fight for those ranged creeps who denies or last hits. But that's also where Benjaz is Enigma. So denies are going to come naturally. You're always going to be pushing that wave back. It's also a reason why he was wholeheartedly unable to help at those runes, because of course you're going to get Eidolons level 1. I don't think I've ever seen Enigma skill Malefice. That just sounds awful.
Yeah, even if you somehow have a chance at first blood because of it, you just kind of completely ruin your own lane, so not a good idea. So that's why he doesn't do it. Leaves his teammate out to dry, but that's a sacrifice. In the meantime, well, we'll see how much the Warden does down bot here. He puts the first point up in the curse, and well, to be honest, he can be pretty annoying, but Kara on the Ogre is kind of in the same territory in terms of just trying to push forward, but as of right now, he's not really winning that trade.
Yeah, and that's also where... Oh, they just got level 2.
Well, maybe he's about to win that trade. As they get the stun down, there's your Torrent, and the Warden is not going to make it out of here.
He uses a Arcane Curse with his last breath, but yeah, not too much fun. And that's where, honestly, it's a shame Warden's not on a very dynamic hero this game, but maybe if he gets a whole bunch of farm, it can be. But more so to just that not having the Glaives level 1. We've been seeing kind of a 50-50 split between value between that and Arcane Curse, but just, I guess, banking on the idea that these heroes have to cast spells to make these trades happen. So maybe I can get an extended curse, but that simply just hasn't been the case.
Yeah. And in this lane, it really just doesn't feel like that's going to be the way that it goes down. The heroes just aren't in that kind of spammy sort of mindset, so it's unfortunate for the Warden. This might be as well. The Torrent's going to hit him, just free-fired. He's going to get slowed up by the Ignite, now getting slowed up by the Orb, and Kara, with that level 2, got the Fire Blast, and now he's really not having fun.
No, does drag the Kunkka pretty far away from the wave, so the Night Stalker gets a pretty free time for just the immediate, but then Kunkka comes back, then you realize that your Silencer is going to be out of the game for quite a bit here because he died, TP died, and well, we'll see if Fade ends up feeling any of that hurt, even though I think he is quite tanky, and with the Bracer, I think maybe too tanky, not worth the mana just yet.
Yeah, Kara's going to just kind of run him off the wave, but not able to do much more than that, as Dodge should be farming up quite nicely. Meanwhile, what is going on here? Support fight behind the tier 1 tower. Dismar is going to go for the toss play, and honestly, maybe that was just to disrupt the pull, because the timing is now kind of thrown off a bit, but it's not exactly the most mana efficient play in the world. But if it keeps Paradise up instead of maybe back by his tower, I think you're still going to be happy with it.
No, you definitely are, and the bigger part is that the small camp is just there, and Dismar is going for the same interrupt play. Unfortunately, they're not the best creeps, as I like to say. These creeps will just die, and then the wave will inevitably push even harder into the Enigma. But, you know, you do what you gotta do, and okay. Toss again with the Swift from the dagger, trying to close the gap, but should just be able to walk this one out as bottom.
Yeah, Fade's in some real trouble here. He's trying to dance through the tree lines. He is able to avoid the Torrent. And it looks like he's going to be okay. The Ignite hits. It is level 2, though.
2 more
Fade.
seconds. Oh, he's just dead.
Okay. Kara says, I'll do it myself. Dodd had to fall back, and they're still able to find the kill. Now he's got the Helm of Ironwell out to him. So, excuse me. So it is going to be that sort of armlet build from the carry Kunkka, and HP regen should put him in a pretty decent spot by the time the Night Stalker returns to lane.
Yeah, it's not going to be too much pressure. He would have loved to maybe sit with the flag bearer a little bit longer, but just simply is already underneath the tower. Not much he can do, but it is nighttime, so time to see how many points up Fade has been saving for that Hunter in the Night, and then we'll see if he can actually get a play going here, because he would absolutely love to put some more pressure onto Kara. Just maybe get a support kill of his own, as he hasn't really been able to defend his. But Dodd is also almost level 5, so if Dodd needs to, the Kunkka can just start jungling. That's top. Whoa.
Yeah. Dismar got trapped up in the cogs, but that means he gets the avalanche off. The Clockwork is the one to go down, and Paradise is doing some nice damage, but shouldn't really be enough to kill anyone. And now if you're Ravens, 4-1 start in terms of the kill count, it's looking pretty good, and Dismar is kind of angling like he wants to try again, but I don't know if they have the damage for that kill.
No, and it's quite nice. Get the Arcane Boots really early. Your Tiny doesn't have to go back to base. You just say, here, I got you, dude. You can just heal up. And, okay, refills mid-bottle with a Clockwork. Now he's on the same hill, but Nengaflo sees it, and with Dismar here, I feel like this might just be a trade. It's going to be a little bit slow, but I don't know where the Clockwork goes from here.
He's going to try to make a break to the west, and
no
Dismar...
boots, but the jukes.
Yeah, he's got the avalanche. There's a Laguna into the tossback. Battery Assault's going to attempt to get him safe, but it's not enough. They'll clean up the cogs as well for a little bit of extra gold, and, well, that is very unfortunate for the Clockwork. At least they got the bottle refill at the very start of that, as Dodd
bottom.
Still gonna fall. Okay.
Wow.
Nicely done by Fade, and I do not think Kara has enough damage to punish this, although... Well, hold on a second, because Kara needs to wait for his stun, but now if he stuns, he's definitely going to die to the curse, so... Doesn't really have great options one way or the other, as the Warden just kind of comes in and ends that stalemate. At the same time, though, another fight up top. They're trying to get onto Paradise. Can Dismar catch? Can't, and even if he did, actually, he could have popped the stick charges for the toss, but able to catch up. So Dodd falls on one side of the map, Kara goes down as well, and Paradise limps away, but he still lives.
Still able to walk away. I think you're pretty happy with that set of circumstances. But yeah, I think getting the kill on the Kunkka, though, yeah, even bigger, especially because you just got level 6 on said Kunkka. So you make that play a little bit later, then maybe you just get boated underneath the tower, and then the rum is enough to just ruin your play. But that's also where lane time might just be coming to an end here for the Spectre. Black Hole's online. It feels very difficult, and that's actually why the mid laner is rushing over here. Soldier's trying to make a play, but Dismar, he's trying to spoil it. And maybe you're able to connect, but I feel like the toss back onto the Spectre, and actually tosses it onto the Eidolons, but not able to connect onto either hero, so a lot of wasted time for this Leshrac.
Smart with the boots is just fast enough to sort of stay out of range. If Solji stopped to try and get the split earth, Ismar would already be out of range of it, so nice little play to sort of break that up, although now there's a lot of people who are starting to drift their way towards mid ET and could lead to another round of fighting as Dismar. He's going to spot Solji, goes for the avalanche, trying to wait for reinforcements. Does he get the toss off? Yes, he does. Yango Flow hitting with the LSA. The Laguna is in there. Solji, though, not dead yet, but they are going to finish him off. At the same time, Paradise just haunted himself bot. They get in onto Dodd. They take down the Kunkka, and Warden was able to trade out for a support in the river. So it is a 2-for-1 in Felt's favor.
Yeah, really nice haunt. He actually did show up for just a second there to make sure that Tiny went down, then went back bottom with the dagger.
Well,
Sick stuff in mid.
Dead.
Yeah, Fade. Just got aggressive. Knew that it was maybe time for him to move across the map. He just straight up walks because, well, large in part because Paradise is now playing bottom. The Spectre takes over the lane, so he's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to leave, and then just walks into an extremely low Lena. Sure.
Would have been nice if Fade had been allowed to actually have the kill, as the Clockwork stole it with, I think, level 1. Yeah, level 1 flare, so.
Oh, and now, the rotations, they're so smart from Felton and Kara.
Dodd is just walking right into this. This is bad. He's going to get hit up immediately, trapping the cogs. Did get the ghost ship off here. That does connect on a Paradise, but Kara doesn't have the damage to find the kill by himself, so. Felt. Guys, where the hell has this been for the whole group stage?
I know, I don't want to say it's a little late, but yeah, no, that is just so smart. Again, they're baiting almost. They're trying to just get a situation where, okay, they want to play in the Spectre, the Ogre, and the Kunkka. They want to get aggressive. That's the kill they want with Boat. But then Felt say, well, if this is the only way that Paradise dies, and we don't want to take Paradise away because he can't go anywhere, we'll just bring everybody. Sure, let's go. It's not like the Enigma's going to TP on us unless we're underneath the tower, but it just works out so beautifully for them. It's
they just missed
Dota,
LSA.
Oh, and then he walks away. Okay.
That's unfortunate. Maybe a little miscommunication on exactly where that toss was going to end up, but it does cost them a bit of an opportunity there. In the meantime, Dodd is still getting kind of pressured here. Clockwork, however, is not a hero who can find a kill by himself, and now he might pay. Tower shot won't bring him down. Can Dodd get the angle? No, he can't. Tidebringer doesn't hit, but Kara says, I'll find the kill. Ignite is in. Right click is there. They do manage to make that happen, but now Dodd, he's been baited again. Oh, man. The amount of times they have now caught him 2 and 4. He doesn't have his armlet yet. This is one of the only times I've actually seen Dodd just straight up shaken.
Yeah, no. Every single time he comes back bottom, he just finds a Night Stalker, just has, walked over to the lane. And then you say, oh, what am I going to do now? I'm just getting 320 damage nuke to the face, being slowed by the Spectral Daggers. And Fate is really not farming all too well because he has just been walking around this entire laning stage. But with all the kills he's been participating in, level-wise, he's a king. He's level 8 right now. He is sitting nice and pretty. Very nice performance out of him. And again, it's the punish of not being able to relocate Benjaz. The Enigma does not want to go anywhere until he has his items. And he does have a Vlad's now. And we'll have to see, because that Wraith Pack timing, again, is something that Benjaz is always so good at playing around. But until then, he's not helping his other lanes out in the slightest.
It's just been him and him alone in this lane. As Dodd, no. Is he in trouble? He is going to be able to sidestep the stun for now. Kara comes in, and they're going to try to turn. They've got the X, they've got the Ghost Ship. The Dark Ascension, though, from Fade is going to be popped. He's getting in for the silence, and Solji's not dead. And now they're turning. Clockwork coming in with the hookshot, connecting with the cogs onto 2. Nyango Flow, though, throwing the damage in here. Laguna He is enough to finish the clock off, and Dodd, finally, some mercy for him. He doesn't get the kill, but he's at least able to survive and turn that around for his team.
Yeah, and just a little bit too far forward. But they need to bring everybody at the same time top. The Warden, he's been getting some great levels up here, but on borrowed time. And the Haunt, though, Benjaz, he's so far forward in the Arcane Curse. It delays the kill by so much because he gets it off before the Avatar's combo happens. And even though you probably have enough damage to kill Solji here, if he doesn't get his Fairy Fire off, isn't able to connect. And again, another great response from Felt.
Yeah. The Haunts have been very much on target here, and well, you lose the Warden, I guess, but he did his job. He baited the heroes in, he dropped his ult, he created that space, and then take the exchange.
That works out pretty fantastically for you, and well, if you're Ravens, you want to start opening up these buildings, and with the Kunkka and the Enigma in the same lane, this top tower should probably fall, but you're not really doing too much whenever Haunt's on cooldown, and of course, are still very early into this game, but that's where the faster pace that the Leshrac can cause can start to really stir you up inside, and, well, they're going to get aggressive, they're going to put that Leshrac down bottom, they're going to look to make this tower trade happen, they're also looking for Kara, and I don't know how much Kara thinks he's baiting here, because they are just going to run him down.
Yeah. Nobody's coming at this point. He's going to get silenced up, dropped low, and finished off pretty quickly. His teammates to take the tower. They got that tier 1 up top, but here's where the trade comes in. Although Solji, well, he used Edict for the kill itself, so he does have to wait a little while. He wants to use it again, but 6 seconds away, creep waves up onto that tier 1. He's leaving the lane, however. I don't know. Felt. They've been playing pretty spectacularly so far, but at some point... There we go. At some point, you need to start taking these objectives, right? They are going to get the tier 1. The Solji doubles back for it.
Yeah, and it does refresh the glyph, which will make that dive onto mid a little bit more difficult, but you also have global in 10 seconds, so you can afford to get a little bit crazy here. Clockwork has hook, he does break, he knows somebody is underneath the tower. He also knows that as soon as he flares an ult, the smoke counter breaks, and now the Clockwork will probably just try to walk away, but toss onto the... yeah, Enigma, LSA, perfect execution. Couldn't get anything started quick enough there, but it's also nighttime in 10 seconds, so now Fade is probably going to look for some action.
And the clock is really already coming back up here in 15, so I don't have to be too concerned about that as they get the curse on Unango Flow. There's that Wraith Pact coming into play, though, so they need to clean that up if they want any sort of engagement here, although that was not very difficult. They take it down instantly, and that's 100 gold into your Leshrac's pockets. At the same time, though, Paradise needs to get away, but he's not going to make it. They drop the ward, and Dismar gets the avalanche, and, well, I understand, you know, you can be away from your teammates because you have the Haunt, but you can't be so far away that you are now the target.
No, and now they just simply walk back mid. They have BKB on Lina. The only way you can start this off is with your clock hook landing, but the problem is, as soon as it lands, he pops BKB, he kills you instead. So you have to be very careful with how you actually decide to break it up here, but that's where the push is coming. Eidolons might get cleaned up by the Leshrac, but even Solji needs to be careful. He does have a Bloodstone, though. And
Okay,
here we
the
go.
hook shot has to be used defensively, but the Laguna's still in. Solji's in trouble. Bloodstone active, not enough. Solji is dead. Clockwork is gone. Benjaz holds Black Hole, and they get the tower on top. So Felt, not exactly the best example of how to defend your tower there.
Yeah, and maybe it was just too quick for them to want to commit the global, but we had global that whole time. The Warden wasn't dead. He was really just kind of going on a warding expedition. It's why he walked away from his tower, but I guess they just didn't feel good about committing it. And a part of me does also think that if the global comes out too early, BKB just comes through and the Lina still does her damage, but there definitely was not a team decision made there. As Fade is trying to kind of hunt here, he just got his Blink Dagger finished, so the Night Stalker can start, and looks like maybe they take out the Tiny. Kind of looks free, and it looks like it will be free, but still have to make those plays continuously here.
Also need to make sure Solji doesn't stick around too long. Okay. No crazy multicast there. It's still just sort of at that first level for Kara, because Yengo Flow is coming in, but we're able to avoid that. Meanwhile, checking back in on the Kunkka here, he has just kind of put his head down and farmed up for a little while here. He got the armlet finished off, and he's making some pretty spectacular progress. Enough money for 2 of the 3 components on his BKB.
Yeah, and another smoke up. They're looking top, though, which will eventually just be a whiff, so they won't be able to make anything happen there. But Blink Dagger finished up on Dismar. Radiance, though, finished up on Paradise. Very greedy build, something you can't always go for, but again, it's mainly to just mess up the initiation, especially from Dismar. So he just can't find that Blink jump whenever he wants to, but you are very fragile on this Spectre. If they do find their way onto you, the evasion is great, but it's not HP, it's not strength. You will probably just die. But here we go. Great positioning from the Clockwork. He's just going to eat the death instead. Both cores walk away. Perfect stuff.
Sometimes that is your job. Just stand there and die so that I don't. And that works out pretty well. Solji just TP'd in, though. Clockwork's going to buy back and TP in, too. But there's going to be the X into the Ghost Ship. They did throw out the Global Silence, but there's that BKB from Yengo Flow. Laguna Blade committed onto Solji, but the hookshot is going to buy a little bit of time, a little bit enough. No, Solji still goes down. Meanwhile, Black Hole catching out the Night Stalker on the back line, dropping him. And not quite enough to actually kill him, though, so Fade's going to try to make a break for it, but the X will be pulling him right back into an LSA combo, and now the Warden, don't know if he wants this. Paradise is close. They could try to make something happen, but not going to be able to do so. TP out from Yengo Flow. Dod. Okay, he was armlet toggling. Thought someone was still hitting him, but he's going to be fine, and well, Ravens take the fight.
Yeah, and you gotta be a little bit careful if you're Paradise now, because these heroes are still here, and yeah, very good scan. Otherwise, that might have been a little bit riskier, but it's hard to tell who exactly wins the fight as well, and of course the main winner is just Solji, because he ends up getting all the gold. Spectre also gets a good few kills, but they just fortunately are able to trade out a little bit more in terms of just hero deaths, and that's also where Benjaz was in a really tough spot. He was in a bind. He was getting hit up by a Night Stalker, was barely able to BKB, or not BKB, Black Hole, so that way he could just stay alive for a few moments longer against the Night Stalker, but eventually does get traded out and dies nonetheless. But where BKB is in queue for Benjaz, so maybe one less thing he has to worry about, but until you kill either the Lina or the Plinka, you are still playing at quite the slow pace. It's also where I do wonder for Solji, is BKB the next item timing? Because BKB is going to be coming against a Crystallis in mid. Dismar just have a toss. Free kill.
It's the Avalanche into the toss back. Benjaz was there with the Malefice, and even Kara threw a little bit of extra damage and knockdown into that. So Raven's lineup can't keep you locked down for quite some time if you're not working with a BKB, and now they're going to push their way into the Roche pit. They do this very quickly, actually.
Yeah, DD Rune, Eidolons, everybody's got the Vlad's Aura, and of course, without the Night Stalker, if he was alive, he wouldn't even have Dark Ascension for a few seconds, but that is just Ravens consistently so good at just turning small pickoffs into big advantages as the Warden. Top lane, nice TP out. Knows that death is right around the corner. He pops. Should give up on the plane just a sec here, but they are really starting to become a fearsome lineup to contend with. And of course, when you don't have Global, and if you do have Black Hole, that's where Benjaz is still right at full force Enigma. He is still quite a big problem that you have to deal with and you have to jump. And during daytime, you're in the downtime for Felt. You've got 4 minutes where it's a little bit harder to make those plays for free. Fade's catching up on a BKB right now, but he has not really been getting a lot out of the plays that he has been making, just not getting a lot of kills, which means that net worth-wise, he is pretty down low in this tier 2. Don't know how you get heroes off of it. The lean is just going to hit up, and you're kind of set up for a fight, but until that Clockwork comes over, he's trying to find an angle, but there's so many bodies in the way, and they jump instead.
Fade. They hit him up on the back line, so he's not able to get onto who he wants. Yengo Flow, though, is just going to give his life to try and get the tower. He didn't actually finish it, though, and this is getting exceptionally awkward. Yengo Flow is back into the fight, though, but they've already lost Benjaz. What can they get in exchange? They will finish off the Clockwork. They would love Solji as well. They pull him back with the X. And Dismar's able to get the kill with the toss, but Fade goes back in, drops the Void, finds the kill. And Ravens are the ones who have to retreat. That just felt so unbelievably strange. Dismar and Kara hit up Fade right as he popped the Ascension, but before he actually had the chance to blink his way in, but the supports can't kill him, so eventually he is able to sort of get himself onto the targets he wanted.
Yeah, they were doing a great job as well, just tiptoeing around that tier 2 in the fog. They ended up getting the Aegis for free just because the splitter clips the Lena from that side, but yeah, it felt like maybe Ravens were trying to run before they could walk there by pushing the tier 2, because usually Ravens likes to stagnate the game with their Aegises, but instead, by pressing the issue, they force a situation where Global is used, but unless they're smoking up right now, their timing to get a black hole off without having to worry about Global is dwindling. The Global Silence is just up in another 60 seconds here, so felt like they just kind of throw away a lot of net worth in their bodies at opponents that, of course, are going to take it. And you're getting quite a few items now built up on Felt. Got a 1-point booster, and then suddenly you're going to have an Agnum Scepter. Well, now Paradise has to walk there and get him himself, but didn't actually buy the point booster, so you'll have Axon Spectre pretty soon, and then you can make those more casual pick-off-oriented plays as opposed to being very committal with the Haunt. And again, just time that you're buying for yourself.
Not a lot of time indeed. There is an attempt here to push from Ravens. They're looking for this tier 1 tower, which 23 minutes in is still standing. Not bad from the Felt side, but it looks like now it is going to be taken down. Okay, maybe not quite yet. They're going to drop the glyph on it, which... that's a bit of an interesting choice. It doesn't get refreshed from the loss of that tower, but... well, maybe that means Felt are going to look to try and defend this. They do have the Ags finished off, so the step is in. Solji, starting with the stun. He's just going to push straight into this, but this isn't safe at all. He's just going to get taken down, and... I have no reasonable explanation for what we just witnessed.
He just thought he would win. by sitting there and healing off of all of the Eidolons, and I think really he just killed everything so quickly that he ran out of targets to heal off of, and then when there's just a BKB Lena sitting there hitting you, you just die. But yeah, that was also just none of the rest of the lineup being in a position to make that play happen. Paradise just got Haunt back off cooldown, and okay, maybe they make the play mid with the Ags as well. They should be able to get the Tiny and then back away, and yes, they will, but Warden's been caught.
Yeah. They're going to be able to punish him, though, because they're not actually catching up. Now the actual Haunt comes in. They're not really getting quite what they wanted out of this. Kara is still ticking to the Arcane Curse. Not going to be enough to kill him, though, and... well... that is very strange. You've used up your ult now on the Spectre. You've used the Global Silence, but they're still trying to force a fight as Fade pushes in. He is taking a lot of damage here. He's slowed by the Ignite. Is it enough to take him down, though? No, it's not, but here comes the Clockwork, hooking his way in. He's going to take down Kara. He's looking for Benjaz as well. They will be able to find both of those kills, but it's coming at too high of a cost here. As Fade gets picked off, Yengo Flow is going to finish off Solji in just a moment, and... if you're Felt... I understand you're feeling stronger with some of these items, but these trades are not going cleanly even when they are going your way. Maybe time to maybe take a step back and opt for maybe a more conventional initiation into some of these. Oh, Paradise.
Here. Okay. Misses the LSA, and because he goes for the LSA out of Invis, doesn't get the Silver Edge hit off either, but... he's trying things, but yeah, this Lena is still just a turret. And originally, Ravens didn't even want to take that fight because they were kind of afraid of just straight up dying. Now I'm watching them ping this Kunkka. He's just barely going to be too healthy for the Spectre to make some crazy Haunt play happen. But yeah, they were dodging that fight mid. They didn't want to fight without Nengoflow's BKB, but instead they just end up pushing a little bit too hard and going in too far. And originally, it ends up in a kill with the Tiny, which feels great for Dismar, but I don't know, it just ends up being too much. And now, defending the wards here, they gotta go back, and doesn't get the toss back, gets punished there, but the Lena just does so much damage. And now, Creep Wave's gonna meet on the tier 2. You don't have Glyph. At least the Eidolons are probably gonna hit this as the rest of the lineup looks for even more kills, but there's just nobody killing Lena. Nengoflow's 15-1.
Yeah, he is just starting to ball out of control at this point, working his way towards an MKB to try and deal with the evasion that the Spectre has built up, and well, they do get the tower. And Benjaz, yeah, there we go. He has the shard there, so he's using, I think, periodically the Malefice to get some extra Eidolons. Of course, those Eidolons don't split, but if you're pushing something like the tower, having 2 or 3 extra Really gives you some extra pushing power as Ravens have moved into their opponent's jungle. They're going to take the outpost here, and well, now's about the time, ET, we start looking towards that Roche pit. We're a minute away from the fastest possible respawn, so feel the need to try and get out here and really regain some control. They did have to use the Shadow Step for that, but it gets them the pick.
No, and we'll have to see what that Roche timer is looking like, 45 seconds out, but they do dodge everybody else, and that is Dark Ascension, so it was a little bit nasty from Felt, as it was already nighttime before, but trying to get aggressive on this mid tower. He's still trying to use that fading vision from the Dark Ascension, and they will start to walk over. Great flare, scouting the Enigma and the Tiny. Makes it a little bit more awkward for them to walk over now, but eventually they'll get the respect. And pretty fantastic vision placed so far from Felt. They kind of have these really small wards in between areas, but because they're in between, you always catch heroes making rotations, so you kind of know what's going on. This, though, is a great smoke. Flies underneath the flare, coming in for the Leshrac, and they don't see him just yet. This ward behind the tower, very similar to Felt's own vision, but we'll see where they decide to make initial contact here. They kind of need a creep wave, though. Otherwise, Nengoflo isn't able to TP into the fight, but if you can just TP to this tier 1... Oh, Felt, don't let yourselves get caught here. Spectre's out, but Spectre can rejoin with Haunt, but the rest of the lineup, I don't know.
Warden. Try to blow him up quickly just in case he's going to pop the global, and they do manage to find that kill. But it looks like the rest of Felt are more interested in just backing off than going back in, so... It's a nice kill for Ravens, but it's not really a kill that's going to turn... Oh, hold on a second. ET. We got another fast Roche respawn, and it's so fast that I'm not sure Ravens checked it, but if they do now... Well, are Felt in a position where they would want to go?
It's really difficult because you're so close to the Mantis Isle on Paradise. You also don't have Dark Ascension for 15 seconds, but worst case scenario is they march over to the pit. It becomes daytime. Felt gets scared about using Dark Ascension because they know that the next few minutes is going to be difficult, but that's where the flare on even footing now. Just a matter of whether or not you can get to this pit in time. And Goflo's got a pretty nasty looking inventory as well, so when it comes to picking up the Shard and the Aegis, might not be too fast, but Dark Ascension, now they're committing. They could just leave, but no, they're racing.
Here come the supports looking to create a distraction, really, as they do get in onto Fade, and Yengoflo picks up the Aegis, and now the Haunt is going to be used. Trying to get Paradise into the fight. The question is, where does he want to go? Ghost Ship in the meantime, being deployed, not really hitting onto anyone. Actually, it did clip Fade there for just a little bit, while the Clockwork goes in on the back line, trying to make sure Benjaz can't do anything. He's going to actually force out his Black Hole, but the Global is deployed. The problem is, they've already lost Solji. Ravens, however, don't have a whole lot of HP. They're trying to rally here in the river. They have the vision onto Paradise, hitting him with the X into the Torrent, into the right clicks. They do lose the Aegis, but they find the kill. Paradise goes down. The Clockwork actually just snipes out Dismar there before he TPs home, so he's able to find something. But Ravens, they take a fight. It's an incredibly messy fight, ET, but they do win it. I just don't know if they can push off of this.
Yeah, and part of that rush is that you do bait Felt pretty much to the low ground. They don't have time to go for the D ward because they want to try and get in there before the Lina gets Aegis, of which they fail. Only problem, of course, now is that, well, Ravens lost their Aegis again, pretty much as soon as they got it. So now the Lina probably isn't going to feel ultra comfortable when it comes to just straight up sieging, which could be even more time bought out for Felt, but that's where we'll have to see how aggressive Ravens decide to use this next time period. Because, of course, in addition to that, Dark Ascension was just used. It is daytime right now. Fade is no longer a hero for at least the next 60 seconds or so. But that's where I do wonder if that was enough for the Lina's Aegis. And, of course, a one-team fight, a lot of teams would take that trade. But, I don't know, I felt like Ravens were going to use that to break open the high ground. Now, instead, I feel like they do have to just wait.
They're at least trying to keep the lanes pushed out as best as they can, even if they won't go all the way into the high ground. Although Nengoflo might be a little safe in this scenario. Paradise is here, but not too many more. Uh-oh, Dismar went in onto the Clockwork. He's going to get the Avalanche into the tossback, into the right clicks, and they do manage to find that pick off. That's the clock dead for 40. So maybe they are going to try this, setting up for a little bit of a siege scenario. Well, what do they have defensively here? Global is now back up. Haunt in 10. Shadow Step is available right now, and the Dark Ascension has cooled off. So honestly, they could take a fight now if they wanted to. They'd just be without the clockwork and his hook shot, and they are going to give it a go. Fade jumps in, but he's getting a little bit stunned up here. That's going to force out his BKB. Meanwhile, Haunt from Paradise jumping in. Jumping out immediately afterwards. Not willing to commit fully, but the tidal wave is pulling him back. They're getting out of position. Broken now by the Silver Edge, and Paradise is gone. Dead for 70, no buyback. And Solji's going to get pulled back in by the X. Yengo Flow is the damage to just destroy the both of them. And, well, if they were nervous about the high ground push before, they're not really feeling that nervous now. Pushing their way in, looking for the top lane of Rax.
No, and this is a pretty abysmal position. Probably a toss back. Oh, misses the X, but okay, jumping the back line. But is this enough? This is going to be all your buybacks, and you better hope that you can kill this Lina. But Lina kills you, and now I think Solji is just going to die back here. And probably the GG's soon. I think this is a rampage, actually, for the Lina.
Give him the rampage! Yeah. There it is. Yengo Flow. Well, he gets it. It's not a GG call from Felt, though, but at this point, I don't know. I mean, I guess, technically speaking, Ravens can't end the game right now, but they're going to get at least 2 lanes of Rax, presumably 3 before the full lineup is up, so I don't know. Felt willing to give it one last shot, but it's going to take a miracle.
Yeah, and you're kind of running out of things to play with, especially because the Lina did just pick up a Satanic, so she will just sit there and hit you and look you square in the face. And
oh my god.
There's not much you can do, and they are still holding their glyph. Now, though, they get to go towards bottom. It's why the Lina was hitting it. Looking to see if she can maybe bait out any more buybacks, but...
Okay, Dismar. Mask of Madness pickup from the Tiny just to help them get through this final lane of Rax. I mean, they're probably about to win, so it really isn't going to matter that much, but that's going to go into the stats.
We'll have to see, because no Dark Ascension for 10 more seconds. There is a hook shot. You are Megas. They're purely fighting to win this last team fight of the game, but the game is ending.
Gotta go, boys. Gotta go now. Hook shot's in. They're going to give it a try. There's going to be Paradise jumping in as well, but he doesn't have any BKB, so he's immediately going to get locked down, taken out. Global Silence will be deployed, but it's too little, too late. They've lost the clockwork. Looks like Solji's going to die here as well. Warden gets taken down by the Laguna. And Yengo Flow. Not going to be another rampage, but he does pick up 3, and that's it. GG called. Ravens. Okay. They dropped the first match. Maybe feeling a little embarrassed. They come back here in game 2. And they just really take care of business, and that means their streak does continue. They still have not lost a series. They're still the only team who can make that claim.
Yeah, and then Go Flow almost says, "Oh, hey, Solji, I hear you play Lina. Yeah, I also play Lina. 28, 1, and 5. I mean, they just kept on giving him things to hit. That's really what it just boils down to. And then you realize that even though Benjaz has been sacked, well, he's just the guy that helps us with Roche. He just shows up every once in a while, puts down some Eidolons, puts down the Wraith Pact, makes it really difficult for Felton, especially Solji, to play. I don't think we ever got to see a BKB come out from him, so all of his damage is getting cut off by 30% by that Wraith Pact. Every single time you saw Fade actually blinking in with the Dark Ascension to try and kill it as fast as possible, because the Leshrac just didn't have much of a game, and even though they had some pretty sick rotations first 10 minutes of the game, Dota is not the first 10 minutes of the game, and Ravens just have a much easier and much, I think, more solid game plan coming forward. And then get to see them round out their draft with the Kunkka carry, which really wasn't the carry, but he also didn't need to be the carry with how strong of a Lina Nengo Flow was. But yeah, no, 1-1. Ravens, again, didn't really move their position. Might have jeopardized their ultimate, first place unrivaled. We'll see if anybody catches them in time, but I think Ravens are pretty happy with their run so far here in the playoff, or in the group stage.
Yeah, and I mean, just stupidly high stat line. 28, 1, and 5, right? He's got more kills than Felt do as a team. His damage, over 47,000 here, so yeah, just doing a little bit of showing off, as you sort of mentioned, right? Taking one of Solji's best heroes and saying, I can probably play that better. But if you're Ravens, as we said before, these are just games to make sure that you're staying consistent. Their spot in the upper bracket is really already secured. As we do swap on over here, we can take a look at what those standings look like. Of course, do want to give the caveat, this is based off of our math that we were just sort of doing behind the scenes here, so I don't know if this is officially confirmed, but I'm going to take the risk and put it up on your screen anyway. So you can see there, Ravens locked into an upper bracket spot alongside SG Esports. With this 1-1 split, they do move back into sole possession of first place. So in terms of overall seeding, that could be it could be pretty relevant, right? Who gets one, who gets two, because SG do still have one final series to play. Meanwhile, down at the bottom there, or not quite the bottom, but you see Felt with this 1-1, they get up to 4 points, so there's a little bit more breathing room between themselves and five-man Midas. Meanwhile, no runes. Oh, no runes. Unfortunate day. 1-3 on the record for them. That does still get them the 1 point, so they do move up a tiny little bit there, but today was their big shot, right? They were hoping to be up there with the cut with 5-rat. That didn't really happen.
Yeah, and now, of course, tomorrow, well, you get the matchup that does kind of matter with SG versus Cut, where you get to see who could possibly alley-oop over Ravens numbers wise, and then kind of take away or even pose a threat to that ultimate just top one spot. But then it's five-man Midas Day, where we see if the boys can do anything to slow down or stop their opponents, because it's been rough goings for them. But again, we'll have to see. And then we're almost done. Then we'll only have 1 day left, only 2 days left in our current group stage, and then we'll be off to playoffs.
Yeah, indeed. Starting to get to the end of it is hello again. Swapping it back over to us. The group stage is coming to an end, but really, we're only just now starting to get things locked in place, right? Ravens and SG only get to the spots they're at based on today's results, so that is something nice to see, right? You like it when the games on those final couple of days should hopefully still matter, and they definitely will. Really for everyone involved, but especially, as you said, ET, that five-man Midas scenario here. They play both Dog Champ and Wolf Team, and, well, they've got to win some games. I don't know how else to really say it. They have to win Dota games. So far, they've been unable to do so.
Yeah, and well, we'll see how five-man Midas look after the group stage if they do end up getting eliminated, because of course, I feel like something drastic might need to happen. But with that being said, that's our day.
Hmm. Is indeed our day. Ravens and Felt close it out. So we are going to be shutting things down here in just a couple more minutes. Um, as a reminder, we are going to be back again tomorrow, just 2 days left in this group stage, and then we're on to playoffs. So, same start time as always, 1 p.m. Pacific time. We'll have another trio of best of twos for you. But for now, ET and I are going to be hopping off here. So, thank you to everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed. We will see you tomorrow afternoon, but enjoy the rest of your night and enjoy the start of your weekend. See you tomorrow.